sentencing, and it was very clear from the moment that it all started that the judge was absolutely biased. There's no doubt about it. Some of the quotes that I will read you from the notes I took on the sticky notes in there and I'll explain what notes I took to the best of my ability. They, after threatening the people to not record, and that there would be criminal force and violence used against them should they be recording, they also informed the public that they are recording themselves for the public to see. So only they get to control the narrative of what's seen in court. Wonder why. But in all retrospect, I don't have these in order, so I'll just explain them as I read them. But this is basically how Regan Benson's court trial went. I am ashamed and shocked to see that there was only a few other people, with how many people she saved and helped throughout the years, that showed up to her trial. I'm sure she told other people. I'm sure her YouTube made other people aware that it was a public trial that could have been seen. But next time, for Regan, in any court case or way that the public can help, they need to step in and help. But here is the gist of what I got in the court. Okay, I got no more notes in my hat. So at one point, I'm going to start here. At one point, I was watching this trial, and all I could think about was, oh, I'm doing live because for some reason I can't use YouTube recording to make a video. I'd have to make a recording on my phone and then share it later. It's a big hassle. I'll just go online. This is what I thought at some point in my trial, because it looks so much like the scene from Harry Potter. You know, the court scene in Harry Potter where the head of the magistrate of magic was trying to convict Harry on the worst case imaginable, and even trying to charge him above what he's lawfully allowed to charge for the supposed crime. It was just like that. In fact, when the charge came down, it was the opposition that informed the judge that he was sentencing her to above what he could even lawfully sentence her to. So here we go. Her lawyer appealed to the Tina Peters case, that you cannot convict a person based off of their views or their personal beliefs. And this is exactly what they're trying to do now, because there's another sticky note here somewhere, but it says that the judge literally said, she said this and we wanted to take it as this. He didn't say she said this and we took it as that. And what I'm talking about is the word that, here, I have one on here somewhere. The word that the judge hates the most, apparently, is pig roast. And that is a word that they will take as a threat on an officer's life. I don't understand why the word pig roast can be a threat on an officer's life unless the court or the cops personally associate themselves with being pigs. Unless you personally associate with being an actual pig and not wanting to see other pigs being on a grill, you should take no offense to that, because you cannot tell if it's a joke, which it's fucking funny to me, because if it is a joke and it is referring to cops, then it's a joke and they can get butthurt if they want. But if it's not a joke, then she's talking about cooking food and serving it to people. But they want to take personal offense to it. My great-grandmother's name was B. Nana B. Sorry, I'm focused. I'm zoned in because I just got out of a court trial, and all I can really think about is how, man, those cops were scared. Everybody in there waited calmly, quietly, let the court do their job, because they threatened them with force if they said or did anything during the proceedings. But as soon as the sentence was passed and she was being taken to the back, everyone was up in arms, just saying about how it's just tyranny. The lawyer even mentioned how this is just fascism. Here, I gotta find it. Let's see. there's a specific one here. I'll find it. There's a name of a lawmaker that is a threat to First Amendment auditors because, here we go, they're weaponizing the new law for what they call doxing to target government critics and police critics and making sure that our views cannot be heard. The judge's name in this case, the judge's name in this case was Isham El Shamisid Dean. It sounds Islamic, and that doesn't really sound like it's somebody from our country, but I'm not going to judge. It's just theorizing here. But he kind of looks like Lewis from the Real Constitutional Upholders channel, just an evil version that works for the government. During her trial, she constantly, the lawyer for Regan Benson, constantly had to make the point to the judge, who claims to know her even though doesn't know her on a personal level whatsoever, that he keeps saying that the paperwork he sees claims that she's a threat in some way, or a mental threat or something. And everybody who personally knows her knows that she may have a straightforward opinion and she's a little more vocal about it than most people, but that's not illegal, and that's not cause to be considered a threat. And the lawyer constantly had to make a point that she was, hi, Imogene. I hope I said that right. Yeah. Sorry. But she made the point that when the cops' private information was made to the public, no threats was ever made, no contact was ever made, no effect was caused by her revealing her information, or the cops' information. However, when the judge tried to say that she didn't like her information being shared because of the same reason, but that's not the case. He was conflating and making assumptions about the issue that he had no evidence or proof to even bring up. And the judge, or the lawyer, had to correct the judge and say, no, she wasn't upset about her information being leaked. She was upset about a specific type of interaction that occurred from it. Completely different, because there was no interaction with the cop. And even if there was, we have the right to redress our grievances and say what bothers us. If I find out where a cop lives and I want to go there and say, hey, you unlawfully arrested somebody and I'm not okay with it, that's your right to redress your grievance. It's just their fault for not protecting the private information as well. Now, this is what really disturbed me about the judge. There's a specific term that all psychopaths that murder people and do crazy shit love to use because it lets them feel like they can justify their horrible actions. And that judge used the same term that these psychopaths use to justify their actions. And that term is deserved. She is getting what she deserved. Now tell me, does that sound like justice or retaliation? Let's see. She mentioned about all her hard work to help people, and that this is a First Amendment constitutional issue that should be heard from a court of appeals. But the judge, for the most beginning part of it, acted as if he was indifferent to hear anything she had to say. Until I wrote that down and made a note of it. I'm not sure if he knew what I was doing, but eventually he seemed like he was locked into what she was saying. Maybe it's because she was saying some seriously damning shit that he needed to hear about him and the courts and the purpose of this unlawful arrest of an innocent public servant who doesn't get paid for it. I'm not talking about the cop. At the very beginning, the judge threatened anyone with force if they were to do the same thing they were doing, which is recording the scenario. He mentioned that a factor in his decision to sentence her was her disrespect to law. However, he was breaking the law when he was sentencing her to a harsher crime than she even deserved. Or, correction, than she could even be charged with. That shows that he has a disrespect for the law. The judge was pissed, absolutely pissed. She won't admit to her guilt. She believes she's innocent. Yeah, that's why it's going to appeals court, Judge Isham de Muslim, Isham al Shamidin, whatever the fuck your name is. Here. Private information, the name of the judge of a protected person. Everyone should be protected equal. It's literally a law. We have equal rights and equal protections under law, and if they make better for others, that's not law, that's tyranny. So, this is the name of the judge that decided to throw an innocent woman in jail because she doesn't have the same opinions as him. He tried to sentence her to almost a year in jail, and the opposing counsel, the people whose job it is to get her sentenced and found guilty, had to tell the judge that he was going above his means, and they had to look into the law. Let's see, because it's such a serious charge that she gave away public information that's accessible through a public FOIA request. 18.1-102.5 is the law that says he can't go over 60 days for this charge, but he tried it anyway. I'm hoping that anyone that's seen or met Regan Benson understands that she is a very good intended person. She spends money out of her own pocket, time out of her own day for people who are less fortunate than her, who are abused by the same people who have just thrown her in the dungeons. And on top of this, our mutual friend, who is a First and Second Amendment advocate in the place that I grew up and was raised, Inglewood, Colorado, has just been shot in the back 7 times by the same police department. Denver's going above and beyond their lawful scope and is starting to target people who speak out against them. If you, for the love of God, value your freedom of any kind, speak out to the Denver, I believe it's District 3 Department, and let them know peacefully, not air quotes, peacefully tell them that they are in the wrong, that they need to arrest these terrorists that are acting as their bosses, that sign their check and say, we're not going to accept this unlawful behavior from our bosses anymore. Our job is to stop that and arrest those people. Anyways, thank you all for joining, and I just wanted to add you in, keep you updated on the list of things that happened this morning in court with Regan Benson. I wish her luck, and if anyone has any information on how I can get a hold of her jail information so I can send her care packages, keep in contact with her, make sure that she's safe, because you know how they like to drop people in and out of jail anyway. So, thank you all for tuning in. I didn't mean to make it this long. I just wanted it. I couldn't record it. YouTube's not letting me record for some reason. So I had to do a live. I have too much on my phones to ever really share them after I record it. So, Regan Benson, check out her channel. She's a hero. A real hero without a gun.